Good morning. It is April 19th, Monday, and this is The Drill. I'm Ron, your host, the only true conservative in the United States today. Welcome to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there. The daily guide for spiritual warfare, the daily prayer. Let's do it that way. My truth will remove every false ministry in high places. My child, be aware that in these days there are false teachers among you who will secretly bring in destructive heresies, even denying the Lord who saved them, and will cause many to reject my teachings and my way of truth. Their judgment has been idle for a long time, and because they have grown cold to the truth, they will bring on themselves and others my swift destruction. Do not listen to their lies and reject their teachings. They must be removed from their lofty seats of comfort, and the results of their disobedience will become an example to any who might be swayed to follow their ways. Rise up like my servant Hosea, who stood for me in truth, leading all who know you to turn from evil and to do what is right in my eyes, not turning aside to the right or to the left. Prayer declaration. Lord, remove every false ministry and strange god from the high places. Let righteous men with your wisdom sit in high governmental places of my city and nation. Let the spiritual foundations that were built in my city, my community, and nation be restored. Use me to walk in the spirit of Hosea and lead the people into righteousness. Amen. And now, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Very good. So today we're going to have promotion, the habit, the cult of the left, does it have to be that way, bad judgment, and only two experts. All that when I come back. One of the essences of being a true conservative, of course, is being realistic. But in terms of expressing true conservatism, you have to promote. The key word is promotion. It's not good enough, for instance, when you're dealing, for instance, with firearms and Second Amendment issues, and saying promoting the Second Amendment. That's no good. When the left comes to you, and like what they're doing today, and they say, well, these weapons should be excluded, these weapons, or you can't have certain ammunition or a certain amount of ammunition carriers, magazines. That's the word I'm blindly groping for here. You can have certain types of magazines and say, well, but I'm pro Second Amendment. It's weak. It's flaccid. That's an indirect argument. What they're doing is they're daring you to stand up, and what they're in essence doing is like they're standing on a podium in a room full of people and saying, who promotes guns here? Who likes guns? Who thinks that guns are good? Raise your hand. They're daring you to raise your hand and say, me, I do. I promote guns. And that's exactly what you need to do, promote. You need to be out telling people, the people that don't own guns, you should be convincing to own guns. The people that already own guns, you should be convincing to own more guns, more ammunition, bigger magazines. You should be promoting gun ownership. Okay, so that's the way you're going to put the left on the defensive. Let them be on the defensive for a while. Reminds me of a Star Trek episode in which Captain Kirk was dealing with a potential enemy, and he said, let them sweat for a change. Same thing here. Go on the offensive, and that means promote. When you're dealing with oil, don't cop out and say, it's about jobs. Then you're supporting it indirectly. Again, because they're coming on, they're daring you to say who's pro-oil. Because they've painted oil as being nasty and dirty, and it's a brown energy source, and it's blah, 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 blah. And then they stand up again in that room full of people and says, put your hand up if you're pro-oil. And all the conservatives put their hands in their pockets and shrink down. No, you need to all of you stand up at the same time and say, I'm pro-oil. Oil is the best energy source that the earth has, not just the United States of America. It's the best energy source for every human being on this planet. Promote oil. You should be doing everything every day that you possibly can. Some other good bumper stickers, if you will, is to go out and put a bumper sticker of Shell Oil, Mobil Oil, Arco, Texaco. Promote oil. Oil is the best use. If it isn't, then F off and go be a lefty. Okay, and you can be on the electric side. That's the way it's shaping up. Electricity versus oil, natural gas. Oil and natural gas are best. Decades ago, there was the theory, and I think, again, just the left is planning it, hoping that everybody that used oil would simply give up on oil, that it was a finite supply, that it was only going to last for 20 or 30 years because supposedly oil came from old dinosaurs. The theory was they they died, and over the years they got compressed down into lower and lower and lower levels of the Earth's crust, and then the pressure and all that converted them somehow to oil. It really sounds more like kabuki theater than anything else. But anyways, and so that the energy, since there's only so many dinosaurs, then oil's going to be depleted pretty shortly. But it's BS. We keep finding new sources of oil. We find new and bigger pools of oil in the ground, pockets of natural gas that are, and I mean huge fields that are going to last decades. So that whole myth that they came up with years ago about oil is a finite supply, so you may as well give up on it, is just that, a myth. Promote oil. Oil is the best resource. Look at what's happened with electricity, particularly in Texas. Right? They have a cold snap, and guess what? None of their electric stuff works. And since that doesn't work, guess what? Everybody gets to freeze. All their food gets to spoil. The only way that it works is if you back it up with a generator, a gasoline-powered generator. No. Gas and oil are the best ways to go. And the true conservative promotes oil, promotes gas. The true conservative doesn't hide. The true conservative doesn't say, well, it's really about jobs. No, stand up and act like a fucking adult. So I was just thinking, for one of the things I spent a lot of time on, politics and cultural issues and whatnot, but I'm going to start expanding. So I'm going to be talking about some things that really have less to do with culture and politics, and just more to do with personal issues. And today, at this particular point, I want to talk about burgers, having burgers. I like my burgers. I like a good hot dog too, but right now, lately, I prefer burgers. And I want to talk about the best burger I've ever had, and that's from The Habit. The only thing at McDonald's that can give The Habit a run for its money is the Quarter Pounder Deluxe. But that's, again, I get the chance. You have a McDonald's across the street, and then across the street from that is The Habit. I'm going to The Habit every time. Get their char burger. That is unbelievably good. That's a damn good burger. And yesterday I had their patty melt. The Habit came up with this patty melt, and I thought, well, I'll give it a try. I've been really disappointed in a lot of places. I go to Denny's or whatnot to get a patty melt, and they're just I don't know. It's just The Habit kills it. They kill it. Oh, that was so good. Oh, that was delicious. It's like a tie. Their burger, their char burger, and their patty melt is either which way you go, it is excellent. If you like patty melts, you got to go to The Habit and the nearest Habit that sells patty melts and get yourself one of these patty melts because it is damn good. First of all, to
too many patty melts have a tendency that they serve you are on the dry side. I don't know, they don't put enough cheese, or they don't put sauce, or I don't know, something about it, but it's dry. It's really dry. This isn't. This has got where they've put, I don't know if it was mayonnaise or butter on the outside or on each side of the bun or the rye bread when they cook it, but it has a little bit of a, it's not dry. There's no other way to put it. I can't say it's wet or greasy or whatever, but it's not dry. It's nice and the bread I can't describe as juicy. But anyways, the meat is good, excellent, and then they've got damn good cheese on it, and then, of course, they grill the onions. Some places don't do that. They'll serve you a patty melt with raw onions. Nah, that doesn't cut it. Got to have the grilled onions on it. And it was delish. Another thing that was a surprise was I had their ranch dressing to dip my fries in. And that ranch dressing is the best ranch dressing I've had at any fast food place, because I go, say, to McDonald's or whatnot, and you can get a little tub of ranch dressing, because I like to do the ranch dressing with the fries instead of ketchup, is something a little bit different. And but the problem with McDonald's and other places is that their ranch dressing has a strong vinegar flavor to it. It's like ketchup sometimes. You do the ketchup and it's a little bit sweet, and then you get a little bit of vinegar. Well, sometimes it's a little bit too much vinegar to the sugar in there, and yuck. And so with the Habit, it is perfect. It is just right. I can't taste no vinegar. It is, and it's not sweet. Because the other thing, if I'm having savory, I want savory. Good burger, there's nothing sweet on it. Don't put any sweet relish. I want to gag when somebody puts sweet relish. I had one, it was called Booyah or Ouya or Mooyah. That's what it's called. Mooyah, and they said, this guy told me, get such and such burger and put relish on it. So I'm assuming it's going to be dill relish. I bite into it and it's sweet relish. I just about wanted to throw up. There shouldn't be any sweet relish. There shouldn't be anything sweet on a hamburger or a cheeseburger. The other thing that makes a cheeseburger good, shredded lettuce, not leaf lettuce. Because some boneheads will put on leaf lettuce, and then you get that big, thick spine of the leaf lettuce that's on the bitter side. What do I want with that? If you're going to put a leaf on it, cut that part out and then put the leaf on if you're going to do it that way. But other than that, I'd rather have it. You may as well shred it. Let's get some shredded lettuce on there, dill, either dill pickles or dill relish, and also the burger needs to be brownish, reddish brownish kind of a color. Too many times I go to a restaurant. There's a place it's called Kavina Burger, and they serve gray slabs of, I guess that's supposed to be meat, and it's unappetizing. It's like you got to be kidding. No, I want something that looks like, again, reddish brown, with maybe some caramelized stuff going on the burger. That's damn good. And that's what's going on at the Habit, by the way, is they got that, because it's called a char burger. They go ahead and they put it on the grill instead of frying it. Frying can be good if you know what you're doing. One of the things you got to do to get rid of that gray is you got to pat it dry. Get it as dry as you possibly can before you slap it on the grill. So, because it's the water in there that turns to steam, and basically you end up, instead of cooking the hamburger or frying the hamburger, you end up boiling it, and that's why it comes out gray. So the other thing is that makes a hamburger better than average is you can tell the hamburgers that they got out from a frozen pack. It's perfectly round. It looks like a large, thin hockey puck. And sometimes they even have there's little marks in the burger. And so you can tell they got this out of the freezer. So not getting it out of the freezer, getting regular ground beef and hand forming the patties, that's the way to go. Another damn good cheeseburger that I had was in the Air Force when I was at Vandenberg Air Force Base, and I was an airman just out of basic training. And every Tuesday they had Shuttleburger Day. Shuttleburger. And it was damn good. Because instead of using their regular hockey pucks, they broke out the ground beef, hand-formed the patties, and they put a sauce on it that was killer. It was so damn good that we used to have commissioned officers, the captains and majors and whatnot, that would give us money and ask us to go and buy them one of these Shuttleburgers to eat. It was that good. So, and again, it had that, but again, it was a hand-formed patty, and that's the way to go there. So again, the Habit. You want the best burger and the best, what is that thing called again? The one on the rye bread. You want those the best. There's just no other way. Nothing compares to it. McDonald's isn't going to compare to it. I like Carl's Jr., but again, And my favorite one used to be Burger King, but they did something with the bun. I don't know what the hell they did with the damn bun, but it sucks. The only thing where McDonald's, if they were smart, and I keep doing this on Twitter, I tweet them and I tell them, bring back the tallow fries. They used to make their fries. People say McDonald's makes the best fries. And they make pretty damn good fries these days, but nothing compared to when I was growing up. They used to fry them in beef tallow, and they were so damn good. It was you could go to McDonald's, skip the Big Mac. Just get yourself a nice, large fries. Maybe get 2 of them, and you're good. I mean, they were so damn good. It was unbelievable. And then we had these activist busybodies that ran around saying, oh, well, but it's going to give people heart attacks. And then McDonald's caved, and went ahead and changed their fries. What they should have done was have 2. Take your pick. Right? McDonald's can say, these are your healthy fries and these are your healthy extra fries or something. I don't know what do you want. Beef tallow fries, non-beef tallow fries. Give them a choice. That way I can go for the beef tallow fries and I can enjoy myself. But they ought to bring that back. But anyways, bottom line, you want the best burger that you can get, go to the Habit, get your burger, patty melt. There we go. Now my memory's back. And get yourself a patty melt. And absolutely the best around. The left is actually, I was just thinking about this the other day, is actually nothing but a cult overall. And it is a cult with everything underneath it is a series of cults. So you've got post-Marxism, and then you have the cult of feminism, the cult of environmentalism. You have the cult of neutrality, the cult of expertise, or the cult of experts, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's just one cult after the other. So one of the questions that stumps the right, because the right, the people that call themselves conservatives but are really reactionary traditionalists, are scared to death every day, and every time they leave their house, they're scared. Even at home, I imagine they're scared to death to open their mouth or say anything because they get jammed up. The left jams them up with one question or another. And one of the big questions that jams up the right, the traditionalists, is, does it have to be that way? Yeah, but does it have to be that way? And the question really is a question that is suggesting that everything in life, it's a denial of reality, and suggests everything in life is a man-made reality. Ayn Rand identified 2 realities: metaphysical, that which is beyond human control, and man-made realities. And the left denies the existence of metaphysical reality. If a tree in a forest falls and no one was around to hear it, did it make a noise? And the left says no. No, it did not. So this question, does it have to be that way, suggests that everything is a man-made reality. So therefore, the correct answer, the correct true conservative realistic answer to that question, does it have to be that way, is yes. Of course, there's going to be the follow-up. Why?
And that's when you say, because not everything in life is within our control. Boom. And that will shut them up. Because remember now, it's not necessarily going to shut up somebody like Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes or a reasonably sharp politician who's been around the block on the bus a couple of times. They may end up having some kind of a response. But for the people you and I have to deal with, our relatives, our neighbors, our friends, our coworkers, fellow church members, it'll shut them down right away. Okay, they are the useful idiots that Marx has described, and they don't know. They're used to winning. That's one of the weaknesses of the left. Is the left is so used to winning that if you're able to come up with one single good retort, most lefties are shut down. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They'll just stare at you. And that's when you collect your victory and you walk away. Have a nice day. See you later. Maybe even throw in the word comrade. See you, comrade, and walk away. Claim your victory. But again, whenever you hear, does it have to be that way? The answer is yes, because not everything is within human control, and that's the truth. So now we're not just throwing words back at them in this particular situation. Sometimes it's useful to do that, to play little games, to mock the left and throw little cute little sentences and phrases at them that maybe rhyme or taunt or tease or whatever, and that's one thing. But in this particular case, that's not what we're doing here. We are using the truth and using it to good effect. The left likes to hold the right to unrealistic standards that it wouldn't dare to hold itself. So, for instance, what it demands of the right is that everything that you do be part of a non-conflicted whole. Okay, so they're going to say, for instance, well, let's take Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich comes out and he's Mr. Family Values. And he's a conservative. So he goes out and he has an affair. He cheats on his wife. And so then what the left will do is say, well, gee, there's Mr. Conservative, Mr. Family Values, but acting in a way that has nothing to do with family values. And what they're trying to do is suggest that no standards can be applicable to human beings ever, because all standards are ultimately impossible to attain. It's impossible to attain standards, and basically that therefore standards are only a way for the capitalists and the conservatives to control people, shame them and control them. And it's simply not true. What you have in the case of Newt Gingrich is, because they'll do this with you too, where you claim, let's say we shouldn't have promiscuity, for instance, right? For the abortion issue. Abortion is ultimately about promiscuity. And so you say, well, we shouldn't have promiscuity. Oh, well, what about you? Haven't you ever had a date? Haven't you ever had sex out of wedlock? Kind of thing. And maybe you have. And maybe you don't feel like lying about it and saying no. Well, now you feel like you're caught in caught in a jam here. You feel like you're going to be made to look like a fool or like a hypocrite, and that the idea is to make the only people that can be true conservatives then are the people that are perfectly, truly conservative, and it's just not true. The way you would handle a situation like that is what they're really talking about is judgment. Okay, and Newt Gingrich is a conservative. He has values. That doesn't mean that his judgment is, let's say, as good as his values. His judgment isn't always up to the game. Right? It's like the same thing when you go out and you may consider yourself a good driver, and somebody will say, well, wait a minute, didn't you just get a moving violation the other day? Didn't you get a speeding ticket? and that's more of an issue of judgment than anything else. You exercise poor judgment, or even in a situation where, let's say, you get hostile behind the wheel, you honk at somebody, maybe flip them off, and then you go ahead and let somebody else in. Let somebody in, or you wave to them when they let you in. And people may suggest that this is some kind of inconsistent, or what the left likes to refer to as complicated conduct. And I think that's the best way to express this, is that the left denies values and denies standards because they insist that human beings are too complicated to conform to standards. And it's not. It's not an issue of complication. It's an issue of judgment. How I act behind the wheel of the car is a matter of judgment. I am a good driver. On this one particular occasion, I exercise poor judgment. If we were going to have the kind of standards that the left is suggesting, then what would happen is that the courts would simply remove my license, and I wouldn't be allowed to drive for my first violation. But they don't do that, because courts are made up of people who understand that part of being human is, from time to time, you exercise bad judgment. You go through the stop sign or stop light, or you exceed the speed limit. You're in a hurry. You're upset about something, and so you exceed the speed limit. That doesn't mean that overall that you're a bad driver and incapable of meeting the standards of driving, the rules of the road. You just, at this particular time, exercised bad judgment. So going back to Newt Gingrich, was the same thing. Just because he has an affair doesn't mean that he's not a conservative. It just means he is a conservative who happened to show poor judgment. Now, my beef with him is the fact that he's not willing to come out and say that, to come out and do a mea culpa, because there was a lot of people when he was Speaker of the House. He was known as Speaker Newt, and there's a lot of people that are really, really happy and backed him. And they had sported bumper stickers that read, "Speaker Newt, deal with it." And then it comes out that, and he was Mr. Family Values. That was during the decade of family values, suggesting that the family values was the in opposition to, say, Bill Clinton, because Bill Clinton was supposed to be a womanizer, that he's constantly out chasing skirt, and that he's been doing it his whole life, even when he was married. He's out looking to get a little something on the side. And so Newt Gingrich then, as a counter to him, to draw a distinction between the Republican Party and the conservatives and the Clintons, he used the term family values. And he's for family values. I have no doubt about that. And I think he's a family values guy. I also know, because he's cheated on 2 wives, that he has exercised poor judgment. I like to say that the big difference between Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton is the fact that Newt Gingrich marries his mistakes. Okay, Bill Clinton will go out and have an affair and then turn his back on the woman he's had the affair with. Whereas Newt Gingrich will then at least divorce his wife and marry the woman that he's been having an affair with. So that does show a tendency toward, again, family values. But again, don't let anybody on the left try to put you into that kind of a box where they take 1 or 2 isolated situations. I'm a good father. Well, what about the time that you did this? I'm a good husband. Well, what about the time you did that? The best answer for that is, hey, I exercised bad judgment, for which I have apologized. To make sure you, of course, when you exercise bad judgment, you apologize if that's what's called for, and or make amends. Okay? And that's the way you put that to bed, by the way. But anybody then challenges you on it, you say, hey, I showed bad judgment. I admitted that I showed bad judgment. and I've made amends, and I'm back on the straight and narrow. That's how you deal with that. So, and I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm sure I've spoken about it on one of my previous episodes. I have like 850, I'm probably pushing 900 episodes now. But anyways, that saying that about the cult of expertise, and that the left expects us to look to leaders like Dr. Fauci when it comes to COVID-19. I said, and what is true, absolutely true, when it comes to your health, there's two experts. You, number one, and your doctor, your primary care physician. Those are the two experts in your life about your health. Okay, so what should have happened with vis-a-vis the COVID-19, if the CDC wants to come out and describe COVID-19 and say this is what it's about, this is its incubation period, and give us and our doctors the general idea of what it's about, how it operates, who is most vulnerable, that kind of thing, then between me and my doctor, we would sit down and decide whether or not it's best for me to stay home, or whether or not it is best for me to wear a mask or some other type of a device. And so, again, between me and my doctor, we make that kind of a decision, not the federal government, not the state government, not even municipal government gets to make that decision. Between me and my doctor, we will decide whether or not what's best for my health, because I'm the expert when it comes to my health, and so is my doctor. So hopefully, if there's a similar situation, maybe an epidemic rather than a pandemic. Pandemics seem to hit once every 100 years or so. But some other kind of similar situation, that we'll learn that, and that the people can stand up and tell their governors and their mayors, no, thank you, we don't need you to tell us when we can go outside or whatnot. We'll get that information from our doctors. And that brings me to the conclusion of another episode of The Drill. We covered promotion, the habit, cult of the left. Does it have to be that way? Bad judgment, and that there's only two experts in your life as far as your health is concerned, and that would be you and your primary care physician. So be honest, be smart, be beautiful, and always remember that the left has no authority, it has no power, and it can't win.